Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. You can see what I did last time here. I've got a few places where the paper didn't really stick very well. And what you can do in this case is you can just tear this off if it didn't stick real well. You want it to stick and not stick up. Okay, so if you have to, tear a few little pieces off, and that's perfectly okay. I've got a little crack here, but not a big deal. When I put a second coat on there, it'll cover that crack, so we're good to go. I've got my paste all made up. You can see it's a thick milkshake and ready to go. A few little lumps, but not too bad. Remember to keep your pieces small. It's really important. If you don't, you're going to get wrinkles. You don't want wrinkles in there. It looks terrible. So if you got your pieces are big, just tear them up a little bit smaller. And then you may need a brush, and it's good to have this just to brush on the paper mache and to smooth it out. And I've got a whole bunch of different brushes here, and it really doesn't matter, you know, one that you like I think would be fine. I'm gonna try this really wide one. Try that and see how that works. Now also you're gonna need to get these tacks out of here. So I glued this down before and I need to get the tacks out. I could just take a butter knife, or don't get a sharp knife, get a butter knife or a screwdriver and just pop these things out of here. You don't want to leave these in. Okay, and if you did a good job of gluing it down, it should stay. Hopefully you did. Some of these might be a little bit tougher to get out. That one was a little bit tough. Okay, so we should be good. Got those out of there. Ready to move on. And let's start pasting this up. And remember, I don't generally like when these fold over, so if they fold over, unfold them. And keep it smooth and pieces small. You're going to get a little messy, I'm afraid, but there's nothing you can do about that. It's going to be how it is. probably gonna have to have another coat because it may not stay together. You know, you gotta have at least 2 coats. I would say 3 would probably be optimal, depending on the shape of yours. So you may have to have another coat of paper. Then you'll be able to paint. I would say you won't be able to paint next week, you'll be able to paint your last week. Okay, today is my 3rd day of putting paper mache on. You can see I've got it shaped pretty well, and it's held its shape. Now I have to make sure I get paper mache underneath here because I want to make sure I cover this. And then I've got to get my little pieces in here. Remember, if you have a piece that's come off some like this, just tear this off. We want it to stick pretty close to the screen. So make sure you tear off any ones that are really sticking off too high. And sometimes you can push them down. If they're really thin, you might be able to get a little bit of paper mache paste under there, and you might be able to push it down with some paste. So you just have to look at each one and decide what you need to do. But this should be pretty good. I've got a couple places where, like I said, I could tear it off if it's sticking up. Because if you don't tear it off, it'll make like a bump and it won't look very good. So tear that off and get it pretty flat. And then I could start paper macheing these areas. I think that's pretty good. Okay, I think this is good. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue my paper macheing and get the whole thing covered. And then the next time we meet, I will be able to paint it. So we're gonna paint next time we meet.